Hey, I'm Chase, and this is All Things Run Up. Today, we're looking at a Vostok. Now, before we hop in the video, hit that subscribe button. Really helps the channel. Give me a like or a dislike. Really don't care. Either way, helps promote the video. Leave a comment down below if you like videos like this. So today, we're looking at the Vostok Neptune Amphibia. Now, why did I choose this Vostok? Well, I chose this Vostok because it has the Gmt hand, which we'll get into it in the review, why it's not really a Gmt hand, but it has a Gmt hand, and you know, the Vostok is known to be a very rugged, durable watch. A lot of people like Vostok. In fact, people say if you're in the watch community that people see that watch and you get immediate respect from people who may be wearing a watch worth thousands of dollars. This watch was just over $110, $120 on Amazon. I could have got it cheaper on eBay, but I wanted it shipped to my house a little faster, so I chose a US distributor as opposed to coming straight from Russia. I plan on doing multiple reviews with this watch and comparing it to other watches, but let's just flip the camera around and hop right into the unboxing and review. We're looking at the Vostok Amphibia Neptune. This is the GMT collection. Now, I say GMT very lightly, or very loosely. We'll get into that in just a minute. Now, it does come in this cardboard box. This one was ordered directly from Amazon. You can get these on eBay and anywhere else, and they range from really cheap to actually pretty expensive. I was actually surprised. So this right here is the white dial GMT. Comes on a pillow stainless steel bracelet right here. I only took off the stickers to the front acrylic crystal, and that is an acrylic crystal. Now I'm going to go ahead and peel the stickers off the rest of the watch and we'll get into the review. There we are, free of any stickers. Now let's talk about this Vostok Amphibia Neptune Collection GMT. Now let's start off with some basic case dimensions. Now this is a 40 millimeter in the case dimensions, and the lug width is almost the same because if you notice, it doesn't really have any lug. So we're slightly bigger on the case dimensions, just a couple millimeters on each side. So it does sit a little smaller on the wrist. However, the issue with these type of lugs is, well, these anti-lugs, which is reversed, is the fact that you have to get a special adapter just to fit a normal strap on there. That I was extremely disappointed with, because I like to switch my straps out. I hate the fact, one, I'm not a big fan of this stainless steel bracelet. You see it has brushing on the outer links, high polish on the inner links. I did not adjust this to my wrist yet, but you can see that it comes with plenty of size there for almost any wrist. It comes with quite a bit of extra links. I'm probably gonna have to take off at least probably 2 on each side just to get it to fit. It does have a safety fold-over clasp right here with a pusher. So, and this is just a press clasp. Now inside, this has the Vostok 2416B automatic 31 jewel. Now, a lot of people complain about Vostok because they have some quality control issues. However, they also have a lot of mods that you can do for each one of their watches. So you could basically replace the bezel, you could replace the bezel insert, you could replace the strap. I mean, you could do all that stuff if you want to mod the watch. And this is a pretty good watch to mod because there's so much stuff. This is basically the Honda Civic. If you are a car guy, this is the Honda Civic of the watch world. You can basically buy anything for this thing. Now, a few things that I have issues with that a lot of people know that Vostok has issues with is this is a screw down crown, which is great. However, like any Vostok crown, this is like super loose and it doesn't hold a lot of confidence for me with its looseness. And the issue that I have is this only has a single pull position, and that is it. So we're going to talk about the GMT function on this and the date function, because the date function has no quick settings. So if you want to change this, you have to go all the way around just to be able to change it. It only has one function right here. And you can see right here, we're going to go to the 12-hour mark, and you see that GMT hand. That GMT hand isn't really a GMT hand. What it is a 24-hour hand. So we're at midnight right now. You see it is at 00 or 2400 hours. There is no 2400 hours, it's 0 hours. However, as we start moving to the 1 o'clock, you can see that it is at the 0100 position. Move to 2 o'clock, it is the 0200 position. Now you can use this as a second time indicator by using this slide bi-directional bezel. There is no clicking, it is only a slide. So you can slide it in either direction, and it does feel quite gritty. You can slide in any direction and kind of change the time zone if you want. So it would be 0400 or 2 hours in the positive for whatever time change you want to go. Now again, you see that this did flip over. Well, again, no quick settings. So if you're like, hey, I need to actually go to, it's actually the 16th, it's not the 15th, I gotta go all the way around to the day position. So this is how the older style watches worked, maybe back in the 50s with Rolexes and stuff like that. We'll actually see how the date change functions, and it is a quick change date. So that's actually pretty cool. However, again, when I buy a GMT watch, I want a true GMT watch. Well, I guess as true of a GMT watch as I can get without having to buy a Rolex Explorer 2 or Rolex GMT, because really the only true GMTs actually set the hour hand different than the GMT. And most GMT watches, which I'll actually be comparing this watch to several other GMT watches, a Chinese GMT and a Swiss GMT, my Steinhardt. Those are actually not true GMTs either, because the GMT hand is set differently, and really what it is the hour hand that's set differently on a true GMT watch. But this sort of does its job. This has 200 meters of water resistance and an acrylic crystal. It's extremely domed. It's not bad, but again, acrylic scratches really easily. However, with some poly watch, you can go ahead and polish any scratches out. It has a high polished case, and it does sit a little thick. I don't have my caliper still, so if you look, it is pretty thick compared to other watches. Again, not a big fan of these lugs. However, it does have a screw down case back, and you know, everything is in Russian, which that's what you expect when you get a Vostok, because it comes straight from Russia. Now, I don't really want to go into a lot of history of Vostok. There's a lot of other YouTubers out there who dive in deep to Vostok's history. That's not me. Right now, we are simply looking at this watch. It does have the sub-seconds at the 10 o'clock position, which is a strange position to really have the sub-seconds, because most of the time it's in the 9 or it's at the 6, but this is at the 10 o'clock position with the date window down at the 4 o'clock position. Let's screw this in, because again, that crown stem makes me nervous because it's loosey-goosey, as they say. Everything is printed on the dial except the applied indices. I like the fact that there is some depth to the watch. I like the fact that there is a little step on that second hands. However, I'm just, you know, when I bought this watch, it was more in the picture than it was in my hand. I would say if I was gonna rate this out of a 10, this is probably a 6 out of a 10. You really have to love Vostoks. I really love the Amphibias. However, I want to do a few videos with this GMT to sort of compare Chinese, Russian, and Swiss, and we will be doing a video in the future. I'm not sure about this watch. Let's go ahead and put it on the wrist and take a look at its overall dimension on my 7¼ inch wrist. Now, if you see here, this is sized down to my 7¼ inch wrist. It's a little warm outside, so you can see my Steinhardt kind of was on my wrist a little tight. However, I didn't really notice it because, you know, over the day it kind of swelled a little bit. But you can see that this actually sits relatively small for 40mm on the wrist, because these lugs, these half lugs that sort of stick out, make it so that the link actually falls down to the wrist, so it actually sits relatively small. Now, it does have 3 micro adjustments right here that are push pin on the clasp. Again, the clasp isn't too bad. Its overall feel when it comes to the actual bracelet and when it comes to the clasp itself is not too terribly great. For me, I would rather change out the bracelet to something that's rubberized because I feel like it would just give it an overall better aesthetic. However, you do have to get an adapter for that sort of strange lug to have there, which is really a shame. It's really a shame because their other amphibias have basic standard lugs, but this they decided to do something different. Fine, but you have to go to a Russian website just to be able to get the adapter for it because I've already looked for it and there's only like one place I can find. Overall, not a bad looking watch. I really want to test out the toughness because if there's one thing that Vostok is known for, it is known for its toughness. It's known to be a cheap automatic watch that can really take a licking and keep on ticking. This has 200 meters of water resistance, which is actually pretty good for a watch that just hovers just over $100. So, you know, their amphibias are the exact same. I think this was just a little more expensive because they offer that, again, that 24-hour hand, that GMT function that really doesn't function as a GMT. However, we're going to put this to the test. We're going to dive with this. We're going to do a bunch of stuff in the future. So I don't plan on getting rid of this anytime soon. Maybe I'll actually mod this watch for you guys. We are going to test it out against 2 other watches. I'll show you right now. So coming up in a video next week, I'm going to be testing out this Chinese GMT, the Vostok Neptune Amphibia, and my Steinhardt GMT, and we're going to be doing multiple tests on these 3 automatic watches. I think it's overall going to be cool. Now, would I recommend this watch? You know, if there's one thing that I love about Vostok is the fact that anybody in the watch community sees a Vostok and you immediately demand respect. And you know what? You don't have to spend a lot of money to have respect from another person in the watch community. This watch community of people, of these collectors who go around, you know, just like myself, I always look down at someone's wrist to see what they're wearing. In fact, I was just on duty a couple weeks ago and I noticed a guy had an older Panerai Luminor on his wrist, and it was a great conversation starter when I was like, hey, is that a Pam on your wrist? And he's like, yeah, what are you wearing? That's just the watch community. If you don't have a lot of money to spend, the Vostok, either the Kommanderski or the Amphibia, or like this Amphibia Neptune, is a great way to get your feet wet, to be able to have a watch. It doesn't cost a lot of money, but a lot of collectors who even collect watches worth thousands of dollars would still respect something like an Amphibia on your wrist. Now, if you like videos like this, once again, hit the subscribe button down below, leave a comment of the content you guys would like to see on this channel. A lot of videos coming up in the future, especially dive videos now that the pools and the lakes are opening back up. So hit that notification bell so you guys can be notified when I drop my next video. Until next time.